Welcome to the channel. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of non-sports trading cards, a category of collectibles that many people overlook, but which has quite a rich history actually. We'll explore a bit about how non-sports trading cards have evolved in general, and then take a deep dive into what I think is one of the most interesting non-sports sets of all time, the 1952 Topps Look and See set. Stick around to see how this fits into the larger story of non-sports cards history. Before we get into the specifics of the 1952 set, let's rewind a bit. The history of non-sports trading cards goes way back to the 19th century, starting with tobacco companies, as is true with a lot of baseball cards.
Do you smoke, sir?
Sure, but perhaps not as much as you.
Oh, no, don't worry about these. Actually, take some. Take a couple of packs. Take a few.
Oh, thank you. What are all the cigarettes for? Are you heading on a long journey or something?
No, nothing like that at all. I'm just interested in the cards.
Okay.
The cigarette cards. Oh, you got any?
No.
No? What's the matter with you? These things are enormously valuable.
What, a little picture card?
Yes, enormously. Sometimes I'll smoke up to 200 cigarettes in one day, just so I can keep opening the packs.
If you've watched my video on the early history of baseball cards, you'll see some very clear parallels, because really both sports cards and non-sports cards have the same origins. In the late 1800s, as a way to promote their products, companies like Allen and Ginter, a tobacco company, began including colorful cards of all sorts in cigarette packs. These cards weren't just advertisements, they featured various themes that they thought would be of interest to the general public, including famous historical figures, landmarks, animals, lots of things. Collectors went crazy for them.
I wish I could explain to you the pleasure and the pain I get out of collecting these babies.
And this marked the birth of the trading card industry. At this point in time, while some of these earlier sets were sports-oriented in nature, by and large, the themes of different sets varied significantly, since there was no specific historical precedent to help determine what themes, what types of cards might actually be of the most interest to people. These cards were originally designed for the purpose of being collectible, and were often produced in a series, with each set offering new images or themes, encouraging people to collect them all. Go buy more of the product. By the 1930s and 1940s, the popularity of trading cards in general exploded with the rise of gum cards. Companies like Gowdy and Bowman began printing cards not just for sports, but for various themes like movie stars, comic strips, and even the military. But it wasn't until after World War II that non-sports cards really began to diversify. After World War II, kids were hungry for entertainment. As television took over, pop culture exploded, and trading cards followed suit. Companies started releasing cards featuring everything from Hollywood stars to comic book characters. But there was also a growing interest in history, and the idea of teaching history through collectible cards emerged from this. This brings us to the 1950s. A pivotal decade in non-sports card history. Enter the 1952 Topps Look and See set, arguably one of the most unique and educational non-sports trading card sets ever produced. Released in 1952, the Look and See set was a series that covered a wide range, but what really set it apart was its approach to history. You'll also notice that it had a design which looks actually very similar to the iconic 1952 Topps baseball set, which is one of the reasons I just really like this set as well. Unlike other cards of that time that simply featured actors or athletes, Topps Look and See set was designed with education in mind. Each card featured a fun fact or short description on the back intended to inform young collectors about history, science, and culture. For example, you could pull a card with the Wright brothers and learn about the first powered flight. Looking through the checklist here on cardboardconnection.com, you can see names from presidents, historical figures, explorers, military leaders, inventors, scientists, authors, and more. And while this is a non-sports card set, there is actually one baseball player in this set as well, and his card is actually by far the most popular card from this set. It's just kind of a side note. And perhaps this isn't too surprising considering it's Babe Ruth. A high-graded version of this card will sell for quite a lot, as you can see from these examples of recent sales here. It's kind of cool to think of this card less of a Babe Ruth baseball card and more of a Babe Ruth historical figures card. The Rembrandt card here is another of the most valuable from the set, as it is widely considered to be a short print, though that's never been officially confirmed. One of the things that's fascinating about this Look and See set is how it reflects the post-war American mindset. There was a growing interest in education and the belief that entertainment could play a role in teaching. This was especially true as it was at a time when the whole concept of entertainment was going through a revolution, with televisions making their way into homes and families beginning to have more wealth than they had had during the troubling years of World War II and before that as well. While the 1950s were a time of prosperity for white people and cultural change in the United States, There was also a push for a well-rounded education, and Topps capitalized on this by blending entertainment with a subtle educational curriculum. These cards gave kids a quick snapshot of history in a way that was both fun and accessible and collectible. The Look and See set didn't just make a mark in 1952, it influenced the way trading cards would be used to teach kids in the years to come. In fact, this set was quite ahead of its time, as you can see its influence in later Topps sets, like the Civil War news cards from 1962, or Mars Attacks, which, while more fantasy-oriented, still retained a similar sort of educational storytelling style and design on the back of the cards. But the impact of the Look and See set isn't just about education, it's about the way it made history feel accessible. In recent years, there has actually been a bit of a revival of interest in vintage non-sports cards, and the Topps 1952 set still stands out as one of the best examples of how cards can transcend entertainment to become small windows into the past. One of the reasons this set is still so loved today is because it captures a moment in time when trading cards were about more than just collecting or about the monetary value. They were actually about learning. Modern-day hobbyists could add in many verbs to describe how people engage with the hobby nowadays: flipping, investing, grading, prospecting, and while of course collecting is still alive and well, I might suggest that learning is not necessarily a concept particularly closely connected to what people would describe as how or why they engage with the hobby nowadays. But this set shows us that hasn't always been the case. Whether it was about the history of the American Revolution, the story of Thomas Edison's light bulb, Look and See made an effort to make history fun and accessible and aimed to inspire a desire to learn, while of course trying to make money from it. In the broader context of non-sports cards, the 1952 Topps Look and See set is a standout, blending history, pop culture, and fun in a way that was uniquely American. It's a fascinating snapshot of the era and an important piece of trading card history. Whether you're a history buff, a card collector, or just someone interested in the cultural shifts of the 1950s, the Look and See set offers a unique way of connecting with that era. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this dive into non-sports trading cards in general and the 1952 Topps Look and See set in particular, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below with your thoughts. What's your favorite non-sports cards? I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, happy collecting. Peace.